I was volunteering downtown at Union Rescue Mission on Skid Row, and it was there that I saw for the first time a homeless child, and it was a baby who was crawling on the sidewalk. And really in that moment, I felt an obligation to do something, and I felt that the answer was a good education. If nothing changed in her life, but she got a good education, she may make it out of the cycle of poverty. It was in that moment, 16 years ago, that I said I want to open a school one day for kids who are experiencing homelessness, and I want to give them the opportunities they deserve. Crete Academy is a nonprofit charter school serving students in South Los Angeles, TK through 6th grade, who have experienced homelessness and poverty. We're headed into our 3rd year. I serve as principal, and so through our wellness program, we serve students by supporting them with transportation, with housing. We help parents with employment and job opportunities, and we also provide medical, dental, and mental health care resources. My experience at the Charter College of Education was really life-changing. It was there that I learned how to be a teacher, everything from classroom management to instruction in science, all of the high-level management things, but also learning the details of instruction and curriculum. On top of that, I was a student assistant in the Charter College of Education, and so I learned the entire credential process in and out, and really gained a greater respect for the field of education. We don't value education enough, and so to have an event like the Distinguished Educators event, where you bring everyday people who are doing incredible work, it's important as a whole, as a profession, to really highlight the work that we're doing. The most satisfying is always seeing smiles on our kids' faces. When you know their stories and you know what they've experienced, you know the loss they've had, you know where they come from, what they might be going through. To see them smile and laugh and experience joy while at school is all I could ever ask for.
Students will rise to the level of expectations, Senor Molina.
What do you need, Mr. Escalante?
Ganas. That's all we need is ganas.
In 1988, Olmos portrayed real-life teacher Jaime Escalante, who turned his East LA students into math whizzes in spite of their difficult backgrounds. The film, Stand and Deliver. In Latino communities throughout the nation, it reignited a sense of hope and self-esteem, and it earned Olmos an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, and vindicated his dedication to films that matter.
Eddie and I have had a really powerful creative relationship. We've worked together on 4 movies. He grew up in Boyle Heights and in Pico Rivera, and he knew and experienced what the walkouts were about. Knowing Eddie, I trusted Eddie to be the director, and I invited him to direct Walkout, a movie that would last and be an organizing tool for Chicanos and students for decades and decades to come.
My father's work has definitely been able to inspire us, has been able to not only do the work that he's done in film and television and theater, but his own discipline, his own willingness to sacrifice and learn and go against all odds has encouraged us to understand the power of education. The Youth Cinema Project began at La Leaf, which is the Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival. And what they would do was have school children come in and watch films. They would be in Spanish, subtitled in English. Teachers were very amazed. These students are reading for 2 hours straight. Like, I can't get them to do that in my class. This was very groundbreaking. So it became a literacy program. Through that process became what is now the Youth Cinema Project, which is a 34-week project-based learning curriculum that takes students from the beginning of their own ideas and turning them into films.
They learn how to direct, how to produce, how to run camera, sound. This is a class that teaches you how to use your creativity, your critical thinking, how to collaborate, and how to communicate.
I feel better about myself. I get more confident, happy. After school, I'm happy.
The program really has reached, I believe, 13 school districts. The amount of reception that we've gotten has been pretty exciting. My father, he's been a role model, has been an inspiration, has been a dad. Being a person of color, you have so much going against you already that you need to be that much more educated. You have to study that much harder. He's gone through it, and it's proof that if you do educate yourself, there's no real limitations.
Sal, they called you a troublemaker, a rabble-rouser, and everything else. Are you that?
No, I don't think so. I'm a reformer in education.
What does that mean?
There are many changes that have to be made because at this point, education is not relevant to kids in general and Mexicans in particular.
I wouldn't be in higher education if it wasn't for Sal Castro.
I consider Sal one of my mentors.
Sal, to those of us that came out of the 60s, was a very, very important figure. He was, for a long time, our North Star.
He was among the first to stand up in the cities and say, we belong, we have rights, we're entitled to them, and we're going to take them.
He was speaking to me. I graduated Garfield High School, and even though I was college prep, there were a lot of my friends never went to college, and they should have, because they had the ability and talent. So I came back and convinced all my UMass buddies and brothers and sisters, we have to support the walkouts. It is the right thing to do.
He inspired students to believe in themselves. And so because of that, he is a central character in the movie Walkout, along with the high school students who really took the risk and risked everything.
What came across from Sal was how passionate he was, his intellect, his activism, very charismatic, but charismatic and humble.
He wasn't a guy that wanted stuff for himself. The thing that he wanted in terms of recognition is a small plaque at Hazard Park with the names of the people that kind of led the walkout. Because he said, it wasn't about him.
Sal always considered himself a teacher. He felt it was his responsibility that kids were exposed to and got a quality education. He felt that that was an educational justice.
He was an educator. No matter what the issue was, he had a way of presenting it, and he just had this great sense of humor also too.
His theme was no sean mensos, go to college and graduate. If you would meet a former student, he would say, where are you going to school? And if they weren't, he would give them his card and say, let's talk and let's get you into college.
Sal was influenced a lot by Cal State LA, as many of us were through the decades. It was truly a village, back then.
I personally think we have to celebrate Sal as an educator. As an educator, I was motivated by him.
He stood up. He was willing to risk his career, and at certain moments, his life, to stand up for Chicano rights, for who we are as Americans, and what we can claim as part of our birthright as Americans.
I think if we all as educators could stand in front of our classrooms and talk to kids with the passion, the understanding, the knowledge, and the motivation that he planted in us, we would have a better world.
You are going to college, folks. You're going to be a doctor, okay?
How do you want to be remembered?
As a teacher of young people that tried to make life better for them.